Are we actually going to record something?
Yeah, I guess we can record something.
Let's do it.
So we're roughly a quarter of the way through the 2020-2021 season, though it's basically just the 2021 season. We didn't play this in 2020. This is the first episode of WingsCast and our first full season going through this. I don't know, Josh, do you want to give your initial thoughts of the first quarter?
I think same coaching issue. I think nothing's changed there. Roster looks completely different. I mean, there's just a whole new. I think you got the pieces there, new infrastructure, people going on waivers that we never thought would go on waivers. Completely new. Well, not completely new, but definitely a new goalie. And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean we've seen some definitely seen some roster shakeups so far. Like just today, Danny DeKaiser was waived. I don't think anyone would have predicted that to start the season.
Contract wise, no way. But that's Kenny's baby, so I mean, it's Eiserman's, I guess, rule to get rid of. I don't know if he's trying to get rid of him or what.
Yeah,
Dangling out there.
I guess he doesn't come back from the injury, but yeah, like you said, like we've got a wholly reworked defense. Bernier's still basically our best goalie going through a
You
quarter
think?
so far. Yeah, I mean I don't know. I think Grice has played well enough, but the team hasn't played well enough in front of Grice. That's one of my takeaways, so far. Other than that, really the lineup is probably the biggest change that we've seen. Really,
Diaz Brome.
Yep.
Is it Brome or Brome? I hear it two different
I
things
believe
from
it's
Kenny
Brome.
from Kenny and Mickey.
So you got Brome, you've got Merrill, Stetcher, Stahl. Let's see who else. You got Ryan. You got Bobby Ryan out there.
A bunch of mercenaries, really.
Yeah, you do, and that's what the rebuild needs. You got to get these guys in. Hopefully they can play well. Hopefully you can sell them at the deadline.
It's true.
See what the deadline looks like this year with all the quarantine rules.
I think he'll be active for sure.
I hope so,
at least.
But you just got to find the buyers, and with the Canadian, teams being 2 weeks out, how's that going to help them really at the dedeadline if
That's
they're
pain
waiting
in
for
the
a
ass.
player?
Yeah, Dubois just was able to play when he got traded.
Just now. Yep, yeah. But so yeah, it's been an interesting start. First thing I really want to talk about though is like the lineup decisions. I think a lot of people thought we'd see more of the kids coming in to begin, and we've seen some of Rasmussen, who's now in the AHL again, and a lot of people had some heartburn over that. But
I did for sure.
Did you? I think I don't know. I've got two ways of looking at that. He wasn't getting a ton of minutes up, and he wasn't playing incredibly well. But I think you have to get the kid NHL experience eventually. He'll be waiver eligible following this season, so he'll have to be up or waived. You probably lose him on waivers. Chalowski's seen no NHL time so far.
I think his fate's pretty much sealed unless something miraculous happens.
Yeah, I don't know what his defense is just a complete liability. And that's how the coaching staff and the organization sees it as well. So yeah, we haven't seen him. We've seen some of Hirose, and I thought Hirose played pretty well. He's not the goal scorer, but on the power play, he was one of our better guys.
Facilitates.
He facilitates well, and I mean, our power play could use all the help it can get.
Goal scoring in general, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a new power play coach. Just that whole coaching staff is taking a dump. I mean, I don't make no talk about these guys, but I mean, special teams, obviously the 5-on-5. I mean, we've been decent on 5-on-5.
Yeah, we've played pretty well 5-on-5 this season. I don't think our 5-on-5 play is bad. It's not fun to watch.
Not at all.
We don't really have any great offense, but we haven't lost the 5-on-5 battle at least.
You watch these other teams; they're exciting to watch. Maybe it's not the excitement, but it's shots on net, generating chances consistently. We were watching Islanders in Boston the other night.
Yeah,
and you said it. Why can't we be like that?
Yeah, especially an Islanders team they're basically known to, basically play trap hockey, but they can still generate offense. And
they were. That's the thing.
Yeah, we just have a real hard time generating offense. And again, that comes back to the lineup. Who's in? I thought Giovanni Smith has played pretty well.
I think he's proven himself. He's willing to stand up for our guys. One, and he's actually contributing on the offensive end. He's causing turnovers on the breakouts in the offensive zone.
Yeah, and I mean he has a lot more speed than I thought he would. He can skate well. Like you said, he stood up for Larkin the other day against Ekblad. He threw
like you
down
said,
pretty well
yeah,
there.
he
I
fed
thought,
Ekblad.
um, so I think he's been good, but he was not in the roster, or he was not in the lineup last night.
Taxi squad.
He's back on the taxi squad for now. Trying to think what other kids have really been. We haven't seen too many other people who are young. Larkin is kind of just playing like Larkin of last year,
Right.
not real
Too
great.
much. Too much. I think he's got a little bit more responsibility getting the C this year, but at the same time, I think Eisman's going to work with him. I think that's right up at Eisman's alley. Like you're doing too much.
Well, he's definitely doing too much, and I don't know if the C's kind of weighing on him, and he feels like he has to make something happen, but he's not. Like you'll see a lot of times he takes just real low percentage shots, no screen, or
Right.
he just isn't. He's not playing real smart hockey. He's just not trying
Especially
to
with
do too much.
especially with Eisman as the GM. It's not like it's some other guy, it's like Cronwall or anybody is the GM, or not Cronwall, but Lidstrom is the GM, and it probably weighs a little bit more than usual, I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah, maybe I don't know, but he's not been great. Then you have the whole Mantha Blashill situation. I'll say this, I guess, in somewhat in Blashill's defense, Mantha was really bad out the gate.
He was. You got to let that guy go. Like he's a hothead. Not let him go. Obviously, to another team. I'd love to see him. Like I'd love to keep him, especially with the Nashville game. That scoring chance he had, and he scored. I mean, it wasn't even close. And I mean, that was on a decent goalie too.
Yeah,
Renee's kind of losing it, but at the same time, I think Blashill goes before Mantha does.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. There's been effort questions with Mantha for years now, but when he's on, he's the best player on the team.
Right.
For now at least. So I don't know how you get rid of him, but there's also that argument that he's the oldest person in that sort of core group. That if we're not going to be good soon, do you move him to get more assets that'll be kind of within the cup years?
Well, who do you
Hopefully,
compare him to?
Mantha?
Yeah,
I don't
to the
know.
rest of the NHL.
I'm not real
6'5",
sure.
power forward that can shoot.
Yeah, I don't. I'd really have to.
Johansson in
No,
Nashville.
no, not really. No, he's not a center. But I mean, it's hard to say. But yeah, I mean, so you've got Mantha, but he was playing good. He got sat. I thought he was decent last night against them. Again as well against Nashville.
They were worried about him. I mean, based on the Nashville broadcast that we caught, or a little bit, the pregame at least, they were worried about him. He's a nightmare against Nashville.
Well, like I said, when he's on, he plays incredibly well. Unfortunately, we haven't seen too much of Bertuzzi this year. He's been out, and he was the hottest player on the team to start.
Oh, effort's there for sure.
Except for when Ryan started real hot, he's kind of cooled off.
Right.
But yeah, his effort's there, and that's the one thing he really brings is just consistent effort. He doesn't have the skill of Mantha or Larkin,
Right.
but he plays like I said with as much effort as he possibly can bring.
Right.
He'll crash the net and he'll try. So, and he was playing well. It's unfortunate that he's out. I think other great people to talk about specifically.
Well, Stahl, 2 goals.
Yeah, Stahl with 2 goals. The best of our defensemen in that regard, but on the back end, he's kind of rough to watch. He's slow. He's beat up. You still see that he thinks the game at a high level, but I mean, he can just get beat flat-footed quite often.
So the mind's there, the body's not. So I think that's where we're at with him. And Hronek with 9 assists, 9 points, 9 assists.
9 assists, but he's playing above his weight on that top pair. Playing. I think he's getting like 23 plus a night.
Yeah, it's a tough division too. Tough division.
At least we're not like the Metro. The Metro's a real
stacked. It's Wild West out there.
Real stacked. But he's playing above his weight. He still needs to tighten up defensively and things. And his his shot selection is not the greatest. Rarely gets the puck through. Kind of forces it sometimes. So you'd like to see him grow in that regard, but he's young and he's like we've said, he's playing probably a little bit too much.
You think too much?
Yeah, I do. I think he's better suited for a middle pair.
Okay.
With like a more defensive guy, but right now he's playing top pair, and it is what it is. Let's see who else.
The defense is actually pretty. I'm actually impressed with the defense. I mean, I think in our own zone, we're a lot better than we were the previous 2 years. Like we don't get trapped as much, and I think that's in the games that we've won. That's been the difference.
Okay.
And I mean, with Stetcher, Merrill, guys can, when he can stay out of the box.
Yeah.
And I think that's gotten better, and I think the goaltending has been good enough to win. It's just we cannot score.
No, we can't score. Another guy on the defensive side, Nemeth's really kind of he's not playing anywhere near the level he was last year.
No.
So that's kind of unfortunate. Yeah, I think you're right. I think defensively we're better. They got Christian Juice as well.
Yep. As a
Who,
waiver claim, wasn't it?
yeah, he was a waiver claim, and I think he's been all right. He makes some big mistakes, here and there, but I think that
I give him a break coming from the West Coast over here, just for weather wise at least.
weather-wise. Um, yeah, and then obviously what we kind of led with, the Kaiser was waived today. I was really surprised by that.
I was too. When you told me, I'm like, who? I haven't heard him called on the ice, so it's kind of left my mind. And then he was all out all last year, and then waived today. Do you think somebody claims him?
I think the contract's too big for him to be claimed. Maybe you see someone, once he finally passes through waivers, someone will look maybe to make a trade if they like him, with salary,
Right.
capped here. Maybe someone will look to move him. I don't know. Maybe you'll get someone with, hey, we've got our problem guy. We'll swap him for your problem guy. Maybe you get something out of it.
You think it's a problem? An internal problem?
I don't think it's an internal problem. Let's not say it that way. I'm just saying, like, he's not, performing to what you need him to perform to, and other teams have those guys as well. Maybe you see a swap like that.
I wouldn't mind it. I'd be interested to see who we pull for that.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen that happen.
Galchenyuk? That'd be six teams in 2 years.
Yeah,
for him.
But I think, like, you see something like the Lucic Neal trade at the beginning of last year. Two guys that just weren't working out.
Right.
See a trade. How do you feel about Blash so far this year? This is probably the biggest.
This is
among the Red Wings fans.
I think it's the biggest problem right now. I think, and this team. I'm looking at culture. I look at the body language. I see Larkin giving too much, doing too much. And I think that's Blash sitting him down and just like, you're doing too much, like Scotty did with Yzerman back. When he was Yzerman scoring all those goals. We don't need you to score all the goals. We just need you to play defense, kind of thing. And I mean, I do think if, and I don't think it's if, I think it's when they get rid of Blash. I think it's going to be just this new culture, breath of fresh air, and I think the guys are going to play a lot better, just confidently wise. Like take care of yours. Like best coaches are always take care of your side of things, and I'll take care of my side of the things. And that's the best. Like Torts is notorious for that. So besides sitting star players, but I mean I don't know what that Blash is doing there. I don't know what the conversations are. I think it'll come out eventually, but at the same time, Blash is 90% of our issue right now.
You think he's that much?
I think he's that much.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, so basically the general in favor of Blash argument is that no one can win with this roster. Okay.
I don't believe
so. I mean, you see that online, you see that everywhere. The people who defend Blash say that, well, it's he doesn't have the horses to really win. He's trying to do what he can, and I'll agree that he doesn't have the greatest roster. Let's put it that way. We are not a good roster.
It's not great. I don't think it's the worst in the NHL.
I'd like you to tell me who has a worse roster in the NHL. Anaheim?
Yeah, well, they're worse than us in the league right now, aren't they?
I think they are, but
imagine having Getzlaff and being the worst. Having Cogliano's in Dallas. Who's the other? Cam Fowler over there, and I mean they've got that talent over there. Like maybe who's the coach over there now? I don't even know who the head coach is.
I couldn't even tell you.
I feel like it's been Boudreaux for the last 30 years, right?
He hasn't been there in a long time.
I know.
But
my argument against that is one, I think the roster is better than what we think it is.
Okay.
All right. I think Mantha's a 30-goal scorer. I think
so too.
Larkin's 20 to 25.
Okay.
And I think Bert is 15 to 20.
Well, Bert's in that range right now. Larkin's not.
Which is odd.
We got Zadina too, who we actually didn't talk about in the lineup, and I think Zadina's played quite well.
He should be top line. Well, I would drop Mantha down.
Well, he's played top line. He's played a lot with Larkin.
Right.
And Zadina's played well, but maybe we'll talk about him later. But back to Blash. I see him make a lot of like weird decisions on things.
Look how we lose. If we lose bad. And it may be a 3-2 game, but it's so disheveled. Like I think it's preparation. Lack of preparation. And it's like watching a train wreck over and over. Every single period, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Well, he seems to only have basically you play one style of hockey, and if it works well against the team, maybe you'll do pretty decent. But if you play against the teams that that style of hockey isn't going to help you, he doesn't adjust and he kind of doubles down. If you're like if it's two
Yeah.
one going into the third, you'll see tons of the bottom six, and it's like he doesn't realize we're behind and we need 2 goals to win, 1 goal to get it to overtime.
And Babs did that too, and he did it in Toronto, and it got him fired.
Well, Babs did it with a lot better special teams, though. Babs tried to basically draw even at even strength and try to kill you with the special teams. Spoiler alert: we cannot kill you with the special teams.
Yeah,
That's pretty obvious at this point.
that's atrocious.
But you'll see Luke Glendening, who actually had a really good night last night. First points in 42 games.
His hard work pays off with that backhander.
Yeah,
It
but
was
he's just
brutal. It was a bad goal.
his second. I don't. Yeah, yeah,
And then Ernie's backhand. It was just a bad game.
yeah. It was a bad game for Rene last night, but yeah, like you'll see that time and again. You'll see situations where you need the offense, and it's not the guys who are going to bring you the most offense coming out. One that sticks in my head from a couple weeks ago, we were on a delayed call. Goalie gets to the bench. The first line was sitting on the bench, and the guy who comes out on the 6-on-5 is Darren Helm. And it's like, what is Darren Helm going to give you out there? I don't know. You think you put some
Speed.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, those are the kind of decisions you see from Blash time and again. And you're right about the disheveledness of the play. Like, we can't pass. Our scheme is, I don't really know. It's dump and chase, but it's sad.
Well, we have nobody who can carry the puck.
Right. We
Oh,
don't.
Larkin.
Well, we don't
Larkin.
even attempt to carry the puck most of the
Well,
time.
that drop back pass that for the power, especially for the power play, it works for most teams. You have to have a puck handler, and it's not like we have Pavel Datsyuk sitting on the back blue line now that
Right.
can carry it anywhere. And so I think they got away from that, and I think the power play got a little bit better. But these teams now, I mean, it's all about speed. Defensemen are getting back in the zone. They're just going to take it and fire it out of there off the glass, and here we do this again.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, entries are a problem. Actually, last night in Nashville, I noticed we did carry in a lot more, and which led to more offensive zone possession, which led to a win. Granted, the goals were soft,
Very
but
soft, yeah.
we didn't. I didn't look at the stats necessarily for last night, but I'd imagine we actually carried more offensive zone possession time than we did defensive zone possession time,
Right.
and that's probably rare for us. But I mean, that's why, like, if you dump and chase all the time, it's just, and you don't have the guys
To
to
do it.
forecheck, and you can't get the puck retrieval.
Exactly.
You're not. It's not going to work, and it hasn't worked. So I put that on Blash, mostly for either not getting the guys prepared or just not executing or what. I don't know. Maybe the guys have completely toned him out, which is quite possible. He's, I think, the second longest tenured coach in the league now.
I think that's where we're at with tuning out. I think players are at that point. I really do.
Could be. And then if anyone deserves to be fired more than Blashill, it's Bilsma
Yeah.
for the power play. It is atrocious.
How does that guy go from winning a cup with Pittsburgh? I mean, well, obviously it's Pittsburgh, and they pretty much could coach themselves. But how do you go from that success all the way to
Well, he played.
assistant coach?
I mean, basically, Eichel threw him out of Buffalo. So he basically told him, if Bilsma stays, I'm not. And, he was kind of notorious for having schemes that were way too difficult to execute. And I don't know if that's the case now.
You think we do? Well, that makes sense because if most of the problems on power plays with teams is, it's not simplified. It's too, we're trying to do this. And if you don't have the personnel for it, it's a disaster, which I think that's where we're at.
I don't know. The power play is kind of an enigma because, like, we just can't do anything right on it. It just doesn't. From the
shots-
entry to the
Shots don't even get through.
no.
I mean, and we almost force feed Zadina and Mantha, and it's not even.
Oh yeah,
Everybody knows where it's going, and it's not Ovechkin that's taking those shots. It's
right.
Zadina and Mantha. That's it.
Or Hronik
On the other side. He's got 0 goals. So
right. So yeah. So I mean, that's obviously not working. But you're right. That's something we just go to time and again. We don't use the bumper out front.
Nope.
And it just doesn't work.
Well, out front, you have Rasmussen at that point, right?
We don't anymore.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, especially for that's what that kid was. That's a strong suit in hockey altogether, and that's what we basically
10-foot game. Yeah.
Yeah, but in the NHL, he just looks so tentative. Looked like he was taking a couple extra seconds to think it through, and you just can't. You got to be able to react, and that's a reason I think he was really sent down. He's just got to get those decisions to be faster.
Right.
And I think that is something they actually said when they sent him down. So I could see it. I wish he would be up. Just make some more interest in the game right now because we're not good. So you'd like to see the kids at least playing, but it is
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah, but I'm a little bit more frustrated this year only because I see it. I see the talent there, but then it's just something is holding it back. I feel like there's a wall there. Like the competitiveness is better, but because I think there's new blood in that lineup,
Hmm.
but it's something is holding this team back, and I'm pretty sure it's Blashill. But I'll leave it. Maybe we don't know the dynamic between Stevie and Blashill at all. So when Stevie's pretty much gotten rid of most of the guys, well, the guys are being one of them from the Kenny era.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, it's let's put it this way, and a lot of people want to blame Kenny. This is mostly Steve's roster now.
yeah,
Outside of the good players, the good players are from Kenny. But again, you're just not gonna get rid of those guys because they are
no,
your
it's
good
your core.
players.
It's your core.
So you're most of the bottom six. You got Filppula, you've got Nemesnikov, who we didn't talk about in the lineup. He's basically been invisible. I've definitely learned that Nemesnikov can't, finish a breakaway to save his life. He's had enough this year. You just can't do it.
Well, Mickey's always like, this kid can't buy a break. I'm like, well, hold on a second. He's had a couple breaks per game where he just can't bury it, and I get the
Right.
slump part of it.
I love Mickey, but he's got that homer in his showing this year.
A couple ginger rails,
Yeah, that too, probably.
a couple ginger rail Mickeys. So
But yeah, so quarter of the way in, if you can grade the team right now, what are you giving it?
C minus.
I think that's a fair grade. I'd probably agree C minus, just to be different. I'll give it a D because we should have shown some sort of improvement.
Right.
And from a points perspective, just scoreboard, we're not getting there. We're actually worse than last year, I believe.
Points wise, it doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me.
So we're not seeing any improvement. Yeah, we've tightened up. Yeah, the games are a little closer. Yeah, we're better 5-on-5, but at the end of the day, we're not nothing's happening that's different. We're just losing.
Well, I think the big change, my thing is, I think the big change would be coaching decision or whatever they decide in the coaching, whatever it is. And I think Cider next year.
Cider will bring some fresh air. I think I almost worry that people are going to be too hard on him because he's playing so well elsewhere that they think he's
Yeah.
just going to step in and be a stud. And if he's not,
Well, I think he will be.
people are going to panic. But
I don't think there's any reason to panic. Look at Rasmussen. I thought he was going to be a stud too, and now he's taken a long time to.
I didn't think that. I'll tell you that much. Did not like that pick.
Well, they got their size up the center. That's what they wanted.
And it's not helping if he's not playing.
And then now there's talks about the. Did you hear about this? The lottery. They're thinking about changing the lottery.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that's just upsetting.
Is that another one?
Yeah, we'll talk.
That's another episode.
We'll talk about that later
the
if we
lottery.
actually get into it, and we get screwed by the lottery again.
Lottery Blashill, I think first.
All right, we can talk about that. I don't have anything else for this.
I'm good.
All right, hopefully we'll do this some more. Actually,
Yeah. What's schedule look like? What are you thinking?
I think generally we'll be releasing Monday mornings. If everything goes well, you'll see us every Monday morning every week.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys have a good week out there.